So, okay, now in the last class, so in the last class, I said about what is a. So, Numpy provides one powerful data structure. Numpy provides one powerful data structure. And what is a data structure is ND array. So, ND array is a data type or data structure used to represent array. And array can be 1D array, 2D array, or it can be 3D array, or it can be ND array. So I said how to set up the Numpy environment. For doing setup of a Numpy environment, you are using a command called pip. So pip followed by pip followed by install and then followed by Numpy. So what is the Numpy is here package, and this is what you are installing it. And after that, how you verify it, as if this Numpy is installed or not, by using import Numpy, right? And then you use alias name. And what is an alias name you are using is np. And if you want to know the version, just write np dot version. So then after that, we are talking about what is an advantage of using numpy array. But whenever you are working with this numpy, okay, see one thing you can do it, you can directly install. So what you can install is directly you can install Anaconda. Yes, if you are working with data science and all the libraries with the data science, okay, all the libraries belongs to data science. So comes with which one? Anaconda here. Now you can see Anaconda download, download Anaconda distribution. And Anaconda is a distribution. What is a distribution is? It is a Python software bundle. What is a distribution is? It is a Python software bundle. What is a distribution is? It is a Python software bundle. And whenever you install the Anaconda, it will install with software, Python software, and it will try to install the data science tools. It will try to install what? AI tools. Tools are nothing but here libraries. It will install data science libraries as well as AI libraries. And it is also install some IDs. Okay, it will try to install ID called Jupyter. Okay, so you will get all these things when you install which one? Anaconda. So it is a better to install which one? Anaconda. If you install the Anaconda, then you'll get all the things. You'll get, yes, manage trusted packages and environment with ease. Open source, user friendly, and all the things. And what you are trying to get all these libraries? Data exploration and transformation, NumPy, Pandas, Jupyter, Dask, visualization, AI and machine learning, NLP, and GUI front-end development. Like you get Flask, CherryPy, okay, Streamlight, Panel. So all this you'll get it along with which one? Anaconda. Okay, na? So if you want, you can just install which one? Anaconda. So what is Anaconda is? Anaconda is a Python distribution. What is Anaconda is? Python distribution. Distribution. It means this is developed by Anaconda people, and it consists of lot of tools. I mean, it is a setup for which people? Data science and AI, right? So, but already I installed the Jupyter notebook. Already I installed the Jupyter notebook. And how you open the Jupyter notebook? Jupyter notebook. Just use Jupyter notebook. If you say Jupyter notebook, so it will try to open the Jupyter notebook. So Jupyter notebook. What is Jupyter notebook? Tell me. What is Jupyter notebook? What is Jupyter Notebook? Jupyter Notebook is a web application. What is Jupyter Notebook? Web application. It is a web application where you can run the code in browser. It is a web application where you execute the code within the browser. Understood? So it is an interactive mode. Interactive execution of Python code can be done using which one? Jupyter Notebook. What is the extension of notebook? IPYNB. That is interactive Python notebook. So what is a notebook? A notebook is a collection of pages. Okay. Notebook is a collection of it is a collection of code. It is a text. It contains the output, everything you put inside which one? Notebook. Notebook. No. If you install the Anaconda with the Anaconda, you'll get Jupyter Notebook. If you want to install the Jupyter Notebook separately, how you install it? I already said you. Pip install notebook. If I say pip install notebook, it will try to install what? Jupyter Notebook. Okay, na? So, yes. Now you can create a notebook. So go to the new, which has to be downloaded for full stack Python students. Which has to be downloaded for full stack Python students. Tell me what is the answer for this? What do you install? The question is like this. So full stack Python means first you started with what? Python. So where you work with Python in? Generally, you start practicing in ideally. Then after that, you do some exercises in PyCharm. Okay, right? So you work with ideally and PyCharm. And after that, you are moving towards, after this, you are moving towards the web development. Web development using what? Django. Then what do you install here? Generally, you work with what? VS Code. You work with what? VS Code. Then after this, you move towards data science. Then you work in what? You work in what? Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook, or you work in what? Google Colab. You work in Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab. It means, is it using of editor is based on what? Using of editor is based on what? Application. So the type of application you are developing it. The type of application you are developing it. If you are developing a web application, what is the best environment is VS Code. If you are writing a simple Python code, then what is the best environment is ideally and PyCharm. If you are working with the data science and other things, then what is the best environment is Jupyter Notebook. So choosing of this editors or IDs based on the type of application you are developing. So most of the data science people work on notebooks. Now you are also working on notebooks. So I should not think that I should install this, I should install that. Okay. That is based on the type of application you are developing it. Okay. Based on the type of application you are developing it. Okay. Now select the new and select a Python 3 kernel. Yes, you need to know all. Because of that, you'll be learning all. Now Python 3, select Python 3, interactive Python kernel. So select this, and here I try to change the name of the file. I try to change the name of the file. So I'm just writing some Numpy. Okay, 7:30 a.m. This is what year? October, September. Okay. So rename. Okay, now this is Numpy. Means all exercises belongs to Numpy. I'll be writing in this notebook. Okay, right. Then this notebook, this notebook consists of cells. So you find the different types of cells, and there is which cell here? Code cell. Code cell, and one more is markdown. Markdown is nothing but text cell. Now this is called as a code cell where I'm importing what I'm importing NumPy. And if you want to use any alias, you can use it. Okay. So NumPy as what here? NP. So giving alias is compulsory here. Giving alias name is compulsory or optional? Optional. So that depends on you whether you want to give alias name or whether you don't want to give alias name. So giving alias name is not compulsory, it is optional. Okay. So if the name is very big, if the name is already used, then you try to access with what? Alias name. Okay. Suppose here I create one variable with what name? NumPy. What is the name of the variable? NumPy. Then if I say print NumPy, it will print the value of which variable? It will print the value of which variable? NumPy. It means first preference is given to the local or not? Yes. So it means is it referring to the library or variable? Variable. So it means program name is also what? Identifier. Program name is also what here? Identifier. Then if I want to access this library, how you access it? By using alias name. Because already one name is there here, right? So you created one variable with the same name. Then how can I access this library with alias name? That is alias. Okay. Now, not only that, if the name is very big, if the name is very big, then you access it. If the name is very big, even you can access it by using what name? Alias name. Okay. Alias name. Just see my how to install means go to the command prompt. Go to the command prompt. In the command prompt, write pip install. Pip install what? Notebook. So now we have right pip install and just write here notebook that get install notebook, right? So done this. Okay, so you can use an alias name and print np refers to which module? NumPy. So just use what here? Version NumPy dot version, right? So if you run this, what is the version of this is 2.3.2. But before using this notebook, you install only notebook. With the notebook, you'll get only notebook, also libraries. If you install the notebook, will you get only notebook or will you get libraries? Huh? Only notebook. You don't get the libraries. You have to install the libraries. If you install the Anaconda, you'll get notebook and libraries. Understood? If you install the Anaconda, with the Anaconda, you'll get the notebook as well as libraries. But if you install only notebook, you'll get only notebook. You don't get any other things. Okay, na? So don't think that you install notebook and start saying, sir, NumPy is not coming. It won't come because it install only notebook, but it doesn't install any other things. Okay, right? Okay. Now let us talk about what is the advantage. What is the advantage of using this NumPy? So I'm talking about NumPy. Okay, NumPy advantages. So here advantages are the same thing. You call it as which one? Features. NumPy advantages are features. Okay, so what is the advantage of NumPy is the first one is okay, NumPy, I said no, NumPy provide one data structure. What is the name of the data structure is ND array. ND array. What is the name of the data structure? ND array. Using ND array, you can create what? Vector. Using ND array, you can create what matrix where you can do linear algebra kind of thing. Using ND array, you can define what tensors. You can define what tensors. So using ND array, you can create how many things? Vector. You can define which one? Matrix. You can define which one? Tensors. Vector. Vector is what? 1D. Vector is what here? 1D. Matrix is what here? 2D. Matrix is what here? 2D. Tensors are which one here? ND. Means you can represent 1D array, 2D array, and what? ND array. So, but one data structure provided by Numpy is what here? ND array. Okay, na? So by using this, you can create a vectors, you can create a matrix, you can create what? Tensors. Tensors. Okay, right? So that you learn. Don't worry. Now here, okay, Numpy. Okay, first feature is Numpy arrays. Numpy arrays occupy less space. Less space or less memory. Okay, less space or less memory compare to which data structure? List data structure. First two advantages. What is the first advantage of NumPy is, you might ask, right? Why again NumPy when you have a list? Again, why NumPy when you have a list, right? You already have a list, then why again NumPy? Because list is list only. Okay, list is not array. List is not array. List is not array. Okay, list is not array. No data, no array data structure, no array. Now NumPy is providing, right? So NumPy arrays occupies less space or memory compared to list data structure. But how NumPy array occupies less space? Okay. So just to see here, these are the points. So points related to which one? List. These are the sum of the points related to the list. In list, data is represented. In list, data is represented. In list, data is represented as what? Objects. In list, data is represented as what? Objects. And objects are dynamic. And objects are dynamic in what is that here? Size. In list, data is represented as objects, and objects are dynamic in what? Size. The size of these objects are not fixed. The size of these objects are not fixed. Hmm. Now just to see here, I just tell you an ideally so that you can understand. Okay, I just open some ideally here. So ideally is for practicing. Okay. So here, here I'm writing. You can do a notebook also, no problem. Okay, right? So import NumPy as what here? NP. So it is imported. Okay, but I'm not working with NumPy. I'm creating a list, or suppose I'm creating one integer object. So what is a variable, or A is object of which type? Integer type. Tell me what is the size of A is? What is the size of A is? Will it allocate memory for A or not? Yes. A is a object. A is a object of which type? Integer type. In Python, always the data is represented as what? Objects. An object is having some properties. Object is having some properties, right? Every object is having some properties. Now, how can you find the size of the object is? I can find the size of the object by importing one module. What is the name of the module? Sys module. Now, this sys module provides the functions which are used to communicate with Python virtual machine. So who will provide the runtime environment for Python virtual machine? Who will provide the runtime environment for Python program? PVM. that is Python virtual machine. How you communicate with the PVM? By using one module. And what is the name of that module is sys. So how can I get the size of this? I'm saying get size of sys dot get size of. Just give the name of the object. What is the name of the object is A. What is the size of this object is 28 bytes. The size of this is how many bytes? 28 bytes. Means this 10 occupies how many bytes? 28 bytes. Right? 28 bytes. If I'm writing a B equal to some 9999, okay, then if I'm saying sys dot get size of, if I'm writing get size of B, what is the size of B is again how many bytes? 28 bytes. Okay, minimum is how many bytes? 28 bytes. Okay, then I try to increase the size of this number. The size of the number is increased. Okay, if I'm writing sys dot get size of, sys dot get size of C, what is the size of C? 40 bytes. Is the size is fixed or increasing? Increasing. So automatically it get increased based on the size of the value. Automatically it increase based on the size of the value. If I'm trying to increase, if I'm trying to increase the value size, okay, then if I'm writing sys dot get size of, what is the get size of D is 48 bytes. Yes. Is it memory size is increasing or not? Yes. How? Based on the size of the value. Based on the size of the value. That is where you'll say in Python, the size of standard or scalar types are what? Dynamic. Is the size of the data type is fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. If I'm writing D equal to 0, D equal to 0, if I'm writing sys dot get size of, sys dot get size of D, how many bytes it is taken? 28 bytes. Means minimum for one integer value, it is taking how many bytes? 28 bytes. But the size keep on increasing it based on the size of the value. Ring or not? So based on the size of the value. So in list data is represented as objects and objects are dynamic in size. It means the size of the object get increased. The size of object, the size of object get increased or get increased or incremented dynamically, dynamically based on value size. Based on which size? Value size. So dynamically based on, okay, dynamically based on which size? Value size. It is not fixed. It is not fixed. Okay, right? Now if you see this, I think this is clear up to this. What do you say here? Okay. Suppose I'm creating a list. So when I'm creating a list, okay, when I'm creating a list with some data, right? I'm saying 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So list itself is one object. Is that list is object or not? Yes. List is object. And this list object holding how many objects? 5 objects. This list itself is an object. And this list object holding how many objects? 5 objects. I want to know what is the size of this is. Okay, sys dot get size of. Okay, sys dot get size of. What I'm taking here? A. If I'm saying sys dot get size of A, then how many bytes it is taken? 104 bytes. How many bytes it is taken? 104 bytes. 104 bytes. But whenever you're talking about data, in Python, data is represented as what? Objects. It means whenever you are creating a list, second point is, okay, list object is created. Okay, list object is created. List object is created with the reference of, with the reference of, list object is created with the reference of objects found within, reference of objects found within list. List object is created with the reference of objects reference of objects found within list. List object is created with a reference of objects found within list. Reference means what here? What is the meaning of reference here? Address. What is the meaning of reference here? Address. Reference means what here? Address. Reference is nothing but what here? Address. A reference is nothing but what here? Address. Okay, reference is an address. Okay. Now, whenever you create a list, see here, whenever you create a list, when I'm saying 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, so which object is created? Tell me here, which object is created? List object is created. S is a list object is created. Okay. And this list object is created with how many objects? Five objects. Five objects are five values. Is it list is holding values? Tell me, is it list is holding values? No. List doesn't hold what? Values. List doesn't hold values because everything is represented as what? Objects. It means this list is having an address of how many objects? Tell me, this list is having address of how many objects? Five objects. It is having address of five objects. If you see this, it is having address of five objects, and these five objects, now these five objects, and these are the five objects, and these five objects are which type here? Integer type. These five objects are of which type here? Integer. So what is the value of this object is 10, and this value is a 20. This value is what here? 30. And this value is what here? 40. And this value is what here? 50. Okay, so total how many objects are created? Five objects. Five objects are created or not? Yes. Five objects are created, and each object will take some space or not? Yes. Each object is having some space, and even it reserve the space for what? Address. It is also reserve the space for what? Address. So this is having address of the object or not? Yes. This is having address of which one? 10. This is having address of which one? 20. This is having address of which one? 20. This is having address of which one? 30. This is having address of which one? 40. It is having address of various objects or not? Yes. So it means list is having address, or is it list is having values? List is having address. Address of how many objects? Five objects. Means now whenever you create a list, the list object occupies some space, and every object occupies some space. List object occupies some space, and every object occupy what? Some space. Assume that it is using some 32-bit addressing technique. Okay, assume that it is using 32-bit addressing technique, means each address will take how many bytes? 4 bytes. Assume that each address will take how many bytes? 4 bytes. Now 4 bytes means, now how many addresses are there here? 5 addresses, means total it reserve how many space for the address is 20 bytes. Assume that each object is how many bytes? 20 bytes. Assume that each object is how many bytes? 20 bytes, and total how many bytes required for each object is 100 bytes. Now this is 100 bytes. It means it is trying to reserve how many bytes of space for 5 values? 120 bytes. 120 bytes. Only for how many values? 5 values. Only for how many values here? 5 values. For storing 5 values, it is read, or it required how many bytes of space? 128 bytes. Because the data is represented as what? Objects. The data is represented as objects, and object is a dynamic in what? Size. Objects are dynamic in size. Okay. So this is a second point. What is the second point is, yeah, is it this is clear? Second point. What do you say here? Yes or no? Okay. So first point is, what is the first point? In list, data is represented as what? Objects. And objects are dynamic in size. The size of the object get increased dynamically based on which size? Value size. Value size. And second one is list object created with reference or address of objects found within list. So whenever you say this, it is trying to allocate extra space. Extra space for data, extra space for what? Address. It is allocating a separate space for data as well as what? Address. Address of all objects are same or different array. How it is same here? Different. Okay, each object is having his own memory location. How can you find the address of the object? ID. You will just write ID of A. ID of A means this is the address of which list? A list. If you want to know ID of A of 0, what is A of 0? Address of which one? 10. This is the address of 10. If I am writing ID of A of 1, what is the ID of 20 is? Okay, now that is 82360. If I am writing ID of A of 2, what is the ID of A of 2? 2680. Is it address is the same or different? Different. Address is not same. Address is what here? Different. If I am writing A of 3, this is the ID of A of 3. So what is the ID of 3 or A of 3? 3000. See here. Is it address is the same or different? Different. Because each object is having his own address and list is having his own address. List object is having his own address and each object is having his own address. Each object is having his own address. Okay. Now this is one more point. So list object created with reference or address of objects found within list. So then what is the problem with this? What is the problem with this? Points related to list. What is the problem with this? The problem with this is when you are working with the data science, when you are working with the data science, you'll be working with large data sets. You'll be working with large data sets, large data. You'll say, no, what is that LLM? Large language model. Means LLM is large, means it is trained with huge amount of data. It is trained with what? Huge amount of data. From where they get all the data from different places. Yes or no? Large amount of data, large, huge, trillions, billions of data, trillions of data. So that data, if I'm representing, if I'm representing in the form of list, what will happen? My system will crash because it occupies that much of space. It occupies what? That much of space. Lot of space it consumes because everything is represented as what? Objects only. To avoid that complexity, so in NumPy, data is not represented as what? Objects. In NumPy, data is not represented as what? Objects. NumPy array, ND array is a class. ND array is what? Class. ND array is a class. Understood? ND array is a class. ND array is a class. And using ND array, you create object. But within that object, the data is not stored as what? Objects. Data is not stored as what? Objects. Data is stored as what? Values. Data is not stored as objects. Data is stored as what? Values. Like the way how you are working with the Java, the way how you are working with the C, the way how you are working with the C++, the way how you are working with the C++, Java, in the same way, you'll be working with what? NumPy array. In the same way, you'll be working with NumPy array. It means, for example, if you are working with the C language, if you have an idea of C language, okay, if you are working with the C language, what do you do it? You'll say integer A of 5. Integer A of 5 means what is the size of integer is? 2 bytes. What is the size of integer is 2 bytes. Means this array, you are reserving space for how many values? 5 values of which type? Integer type. So what will happen? Is it memory is allocated continuously or not? Yes, memory is allocated continuous. Now this is you have to remember. Continuous memory locations. Continuous memory locations. Okay, so it allocates memory for how many values? 5 values. Now there is a variable. What is the name of the variable? A. Now A is having address of which value? first value. And this address, you call it as which address? Alright, this address is called as which address? Base address. This is called as which address? Base address. Now what is A? What is A? Is the name of the variable, or A is called in C language. A is called as what? What is A is called as a pointer. What is A is called? Pointer. A is called as what here? Pointer. And this pointer is holding address of how many values? Pointer, and it is holding address of how many values? 5 values. A is holding address of how many values? 5 values. But A is pointing to which location? Or A is pointing to which location? First location. A is pointing to which location? First location. And that first location is called which address? Base address. What is A? Pointer. What is A? Pointer. In C, C++, a pointer hold what? Address. A pointer hold what? Address. So if you take this as an object, if you take this as an object, this object contain other objects are only values. This object contain other objects are only values. Only, only values. Only values. Okay. So in NumPy, okay, in NumPy, yes, only values. You are storing only values. Suppose if you are working with a Java, if you are working with the Java, how you create an array is, you'll say integer A equal to new integer of what? 5. Like this, you'll write it. So it means A is a variable of which type? Array type. Here also objects. Here also what? Object. In Java also array is what? In Java also array is what? Object. Array is a object, but array object contain object. How many objects? 5 objects. Huh? Is it array object contain 5 objects or 5 values? 5 values. It doesn't have 5 objects. It doesn't have 5 objects. It is having 5 values. Means it will create one object. It will create one object. And what is this object is? Array object. It is create one object. In this one object, it will try to reserve the space for how many values? 5 values. 5 values it allocates memory continuously. But here also it is treated as what? Objects. But A is a variable. Is it A variable hold value or address? Address. Address of which object? Array object. Address of which object? Array object. Getting on, right? So when it comes to the NumPy, okay. So these 2 points related with the what do you call it as less space. Okay. Array occupies less space, but list occupies. Bolo here. Array occupies less space. List occupies more space. How list occupies more space? Because of it is represented as what? Objects. So in list, data is stored in the form of objects. Whenever you create a list, it create a list with objects, and it allocates memory for objects. It allocates memory for address of the objects. Because of that, it occupies what? More space. More space. But when it comes to the NumPy array, so points belongs to array. So points, these are the points related to which one? NumPy array. Okay, right? First one is even data science people doesn't know these things. In data science, they'll start NumPy, but they just create NumPy, load the data, and do all the things. But they don't know. I mean, what is the advantage of using NumPy? So as a Python developer, you are learning everything in detail. Okay, na? Yes. So points related to NumPy array. So in NumPy array, yes. In NumPy array, yes, sir. Okay. In NumPy array, data is not represented as, sorry, not represented. Okay, not represented as what? Objects. NumPy array is object. Okay, remember this. NumPy array is object. NumPy array is object in which data is represented. Data is represented as what? Values. Data is represented as values. It means it allocates memory. It allocates memory for only values. Only values. Only values. Okay. And NumPy, second point. NumPy, NumPy array is having what is that? Data types. NumPy array is having what? Data types. Data types. Okay, NumPy array provides what? Data types. And these data types define what here? Size. This data type define the size of what? Memory. Size of memory allocated for each value. Allocated for each value. Okay. So let us talk about this. Let us talk about this. Okay. So here, just remember this. Just try to understand here. Yes. Just try to understand. Very easy. But first you should understand. Okay. So how to create a NumPy array? Okay, there are different approaches are there. I'll discuss that. But I'm using one function here. What is the name of the function is array. You can also create it by using which data type? ND array. What is the name of the data type? ND array. ND array represents what? Array. Which data structure? Array data structure or array object. You can create it by using ND array, but there are different functions provided by NumPy for creating which object? Array object. Okay, now here I'm using one function. What is the name of the function is array. This array create which object? This array create which object? This array function create which object? Array? Which array object? ND array object. Array kya yaar? Array object is of which class? ND array. You represent array using which class? ND array. So array function create an object of which class? ND array. So it will create object of which type? ND array. Understood? Then array. I'm creating an array by using what here? Object. And this is what? Data type. Means generally array. When you learn C++, you'll say array is a collection of similar type of elements. You'll say similar type. Array is what? Similar type. List can be what? Heterogeneous. But array is what? Homogeneous. But it can also hold heterogeneous. It can also hold heterogeneous, but generally you use array for storing similar type of values, but not different types of values. Now here I'm creating an array by converting list. I'm writing a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, now I'm using one object. What is the object I used here? List. Now I'm converting list into what? Array. I'm converting list into array. Now just see here. If I'm writing type of X, tell me type of X is which type? ND array. Very good. ND array. What is the type of this X is? ND array. ND array is what? Class. What is ND array? Class. What is X is? Object. ND array is a class. X is a object of which class? ND array. Is it array or not? Yes. ND means n dimensional. ND बोलो तो n dimensional. बस उतना ही. ज़्यादा नहीं सोचना. Okay. Array is the data structure. Okay. Then how can I get the size? How can I get the size? Tell me, how can I get the size? Says dot. Get size of what is that? X. What is the size of X is? 152 bytes. मगर ये यहाँ पे तो कितना bytes है यार? How many bytes? 104 bytes. But here how many bytes? 152 bytes. Which one is occupying more space? Array only. Which one is occupying more space? Array compared to which one? List. But this is when you are working with small amount of data. This is when you are working with what? Small amount of data. If you are working with large amount of data, large, what I'm talking about? Large amount of data, large amount of data. Suppose I'm creating, don't think that NumPy occupies less space. NumPy occupies less space. List occupies what? More space. So don't think that here it is occupying more space. But this is when you're working with large amount of data. In data science, you'll be working with small amount of data, large amount of data, large amount of data. When you're working with large number of values, you have to think in large. You create a server. You create a server. That server should handle how many people? Some millions of people. Efficiency is based on when it is able to handle what? Millions of people, not two, three people. Getting or not? So when you create an array with some less number of values, then compare with a list, then NumPy array occupies what? More space. But when you are dealing with which data? Huge amount of data. Huge amount of data. Now let me show you with huge amount of data. Huge amount of data means I create one list, list of range of. I'll just take how many zeros? 2, 3. How much? 1 lakh? 10 lakhs? 10 lakhs, huh? Huh? One more zero? No, over. और एक जीरो ना? नहीं हो गए 10 lakhs हो गए ना? हैं? 5 more zeros. क्यों इतना बहुत बड़ा? You want huge, huh? Okay. How many zeros? 3, 3, 6, 7. 7 zeros I've taken. Now my list is created, right? List is created, so many values. Don't print it. Don't print. If you print, you get, yes, you have to wait because this many number of values it generates. Don't print it. Type of B is list and sys dot get size of what is the get size of B? This many number of bytes it is taken. Now I'm writing some y. So y equal to, I'm saying np dot what? Array. What is this here? List. I converted this list into what here? Array. I converted this list into array. Take more number of values. I'm saying get size of, what is that here? Y. And y, now even still, it is taking more number of bytes or less number of bytes? More number of bytes. More number of bytes. But compared to this is how many bytes? 56. But this is how many? This is how many? 56. This is how many? 112. We'll just increase more. More number of values. I'm talking about what? More number of values. Right? Follow here. Yes. Then I create one more list. I'm creating another list here. So there is a list of a range of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like this. I've taken number of values. So I've taken more number of values. Memory error because the space is not enough. Space is not enough. The shell. What we'll do is we'll take Jupyter. We'll take this one because out of space. We'll remove 2 zeros. Not supporting. So Google Colab will take because this memory is not sufficient, right? This is up to this only. Okay, import sys and sys dot get size of same. Get size of C. What is the size of C is? Now this is the size of C. Now what will I do is I'll create a D. See here, import numpy. Just see because yes, import numpy as np, and here I'm writing a D equal to np dot array. What we'll do is we'll create using range only. This is a range with same number of values, sir. Okay, I'll take a range with same number of values. Okay, same number of values I've taken. Okay, now run this code. Now anyway, so print, use print. Otherwise, it doesn't print both the outputs. If you want both the outputs, then say print sys dot get size of, what is this here? D. Run the code. Yes. Now you can see 800. Okay. Now this is how much here? 56. And this is 112. But actually, what will I do is I'm trying to define array comma. Yes. I'm saying array comma. Yes. Array comma. What I'm doing, I'm defining which one? Data type. np dot integer. np dot integer. Okay. np dot. If you want, you can use the size of item. For example, you are saying sys dot get size of what you are trying to print D. You can get the size of object. You can get the size of what object. What is the name of the object is D. D is an object of which type? Tell me out. D is the object of which type? ND array. So D is the object of which type? ND array. Now you want to know what is the size of this is. You can just say print. So print dot D dot. You can use how many bytes? How many bytes it takes? Now you are saying n bytes. So n bytes. I'm using one. You can write a D dot. What you can use? Item size. You can also use a method called which one? Item size. You can also use a method called which one? Item size. Import it. Import. Shreya. Import sys. Just import 6. Import sys. Okay. Because when you are saying sys dot get size of D, it is completely printing which size? Array size also. It is printing array because array is what? What is array is? Object. Array is object and that object is having some properties. Right? That object is having some properties. But I want to know only the size of which one? Data. I want to know only the size of which one? Data. Then you can use item size. What is the item size is? You can also use one more function. And what is the name of the function is? Okay, you can use d dot n bytes. Means how many bytes occupied by function. What is not matched here? एक ज़्यादा हो गया. Yeah. Attribute. N bytes is what? Attribute. Now you can see how many bytes it is taken here. Some bytes it is taken, right? Now compared to the list, how many bytes it is taken? Less number of bytes or more number of bytes? Less number of bytes. Now this is belongs to which one? Only data. This is belongs to which one here? Only data. But this is taken how many bytes? 56. But this is taken how many bytes? Less number of bytes. Compared to which one? Compared to which one? List. Suppose when you say sys dot get size of D means, when you write get size of D, what will happen is D is object, right? This is which object? Array. This is which object? Array object. If you are saying this is array object, in this object you will have so many variables. In this array object, you'll have so many variables or only one variable, so many variables. So it will get the size of all these variables. It will get the size of all these variables, but I want to know the size of only which one? I want to know only the size of which one? Data. And how can I get the size of the data? By using one attribute. What is the name of the attribute you are using? N bytes. What is the name of the attribute you are using? N bytes. And compared to the list, now this is occupying more space or less bytes? Less number of bytes. So when it comes to the NumPy array, it occupies what? More space. But when it comes to the list, when it comes to the list, it occupies more space, and NumPy array occupies what? Less space. Now you can test that by writing this code. Okay, you can write this in interactive shell also. You can write this in interactive shell also, or you can write this in interactive shell, or you can write in notebook. You can write in notebook.
କିଏ ମନ ଭିତରେ କାଇଁ ରାଗ ରଖିବ? ତୁ କହୁଛୁ ମୁଁ
You
ସବୁ
can
ଠିକ
write this
କରୁଛି,
in
ମୁଁ
what?
ଯାହା କରୁଛି ଠିକ,
Notebook,
ତୁ ଯାହା କରୁଛୁ
right?
ଠିକ କରୁଛୁ।
Yes.
ବାପା ସବୁବେଳେ ରୁହନ୍ତି, ରୋଷେଇ
Understood?
କରନ୍ତି, ଆଜି ବାପା ଯିବେ ସାଡେ,
This
ତୁ
one
କଣ
you
ଜାଣିବୁ?
understood or not? Okay. So what is the difference between the list and NumPy array? What is the difference between
କାହିଁକି
list and
ବେକାରିଆ
NumPy
କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା
array?
କରୁଛୁ କହିଲୁ?
In list data is represented as objects, and objects are dynamic in what? Size. Okay. And the size of the object get increased
ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ମନ ଇଚ୍ଛାରେ କାମ
dynamically
କରିବେ,
based
କେହି
on
କାହାକୁ କିଛି କହିବନି
value
ହେଲା।
size. And in list, object is created with
ନା ମତେ
reference
ଖାଇବାକୁ ଡାକିବୁ,
of
ନା ମତେ
objects
କଣ
found
କରିବୁ,
in what?
ମୋର ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଚ୍ଛା
List.
ହବ ମୁଁ ସେତେବେଳେ ଖାଇବି ଆଜି।
Then when it comes to the NumPy,
ବେକାରିଆ ଆଉ।
in NumPy array, data is not represented as what? Objects. NumPy array is object in which data is represented as what? Values. It allocates memory only for what? Values. And NumPy array is having
ତମେ
data
ଯାହା କରୁଛ
types,
ଠିକ
and
କରୁଛ
these
ସବୁ।
data types define the size
କିଏ
of
ଖାଆନ୍ତୁ ନ
memory
ଖାଆନ୍ତୁ,
allocated for each
ଟାଇମ ତ ଅଛି ଆଉ।
value.
ଏନେ ମୁଁ ଭାତ
Okay, right?
ସରିଯାଇଛି,
Then
ଭାତ
this
ବି
is
ଟିକେ
a
ବସେଇ
proof
ଦେଇଛି
here.
ଏଥିରେ।
If you
ଅଲଗା
are saying
ସାରିଦେଲେ
sys dot
ଗ୍ୟାସ ଟା
get size of
ସରିଯିବ।
C,
ମାନେ କାହା ପାଇଁ
and what is
ଚିନ୍ତା
the
ଟିକେ କରିବୁ,
size of C?
ତୁ
The
ଅଧିକ
size of
କରିବୁନି
the
ବୋଲି।
C is this many number of bytes is taken by which
ତୁ
one?
କଣ ବା
C.
ମୁଣ୍ଡରେ ତୋର କଣ
And after
ହେଇଗଲେ
that, I get
ମୁଁ
the
ବି ଟିକେ
size of
ବୁଝିପାରୁନି
D,
ଦିନେ ଦିନେ।
and this many number of bytes taken by
ଆଡେ
D.
ଗ୍ୟାସ
But I
ସରିବନି,
want to know
ସାଡେ
how
କଣ
much
ମାନେ କିଏ
memory is
ରୋଷେଇ
reserved
କରିବାକୁ
for
ଯିବେ,
this
ପୁଣି
data.
ଘଣ୍ଟାଏ
Then
ଚୁଲିରେ
how can I
ବସିକି
get
ରୋଷେଇ
the
କରିକି
size of
ଖାଇଥାନ୍ତି।
this D? By using D dot, what is this?
ମାନେ ପର
N
ଲୋକ ବି
bytes.
ଏମିତି ତ
And
ହବନି
this is
କେବେ,
number of bytes
ତା ମନ
reserved
କେମିତି
for
କଥା
which
ବାହାରିବନି
one?
ଗ୍ୟାସ।
Data. So compared means when you work with
ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର
large
କଣ ପାଇଁ
amount
ଏମିତି
of
ହଉଛି?
data, when you work with large amount of data or huge amount of data, you find a lot of differences between list and what? NumPy
ଟୋଟାଲି
array.
ଠିକ ବାଟରେ ନାଉ ତତେ
List
ମୁଁ
and
କହିଦଉଛି
NumPy
ହେଲା।
array.
ଖାଲି
Okay.
ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ
So that is
ପଳେଇଲେ ସବୁ
where
ଠିକ ହେଇଯାଏ,
it
ମନ
is
ଭାଗ ବି ଠିକ
efficient.
ରହିବା ଦରକାର।
So it is efficient. So first
ମୁଁ ତତେ
advantage
ଆଜି କହୁଛି
is
ଏଇ କଥା,
NumPy array
ଯାହା
occupies
ଦୁନିଆରେ
less
ଯାହାକୁ
space
ପଚାରିବା କଥା
or
ପଚାରିବୁ।
memory compared to list
ତୁ ଘର ପରିବାର
data
ସବୁ
structure.
ଭୁଲିଗଲୁ,
Compared to which data
ସବୁଦିନ ଯାଉ
structure?
ଠିକ ଅଛି
List
ଚଳିବ।
data structure. Okay, right?
ତୁ ପୁଣି ଏନେ
Then
କେତେବେଳୁ ଡାଲି
second
କରିବୁ,
point
କେତେବେଳୁ
is
ସେ ଲାଉ
second
କରୁଛି କରିବୁ,
feature
କେତେବେଳୁ ପୁଣି
is
ଖାଇବୁ ମଣିଷ।
what is the second feature is okay.
ଜାଣିଛି
Second
ତୁ
one
ଚୁଡା
is
ଖାଇବିନି,
now
ନା ତୁ
whenever
ଚୁଡା
you are
ଖାଇଦଉନୁ,
working with the list,
ନା ତୁ ଇଏ ଖାଇଦଉନୁ।
whenever you are working with the list, okay, list, you do what? Indexing, slicing, you iterate the data. You do indexing, slicing, and you iterate what? Data iteration. Iteration means generally what is meaning of iterating? Reading. Okay, what is the meaning of iterating? Reading. Reading or not? Yes. So when you read the data, now here data is stored. In this case, is its data is stored in continuous memory locations? Tell me, is it data is stored in continuous memory locations? Continuous memory locations or different memory locations? Different memory locations. It
ଆର
is not
ମାସରେ ମୁଁ
stored in
ଯାଉଛି ବାହାରକୁ,
continuous memory locations.
ଆର ମାସ
It
1
is
ତାରିଖରେ।
not stored in continuous memory locations. It is stored in what? Different memory locations. Here, I create a list 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I created list with how many objects? 5 objects. I created list with how many objects? 5 objects. Okay. And then I'm trying to print ID of which one? A. And print ID of which one? B. And print what is this? ID of C.
Hello.
And print ID of what is that? D.
कौनु
Sorry. A of
एटी
0.
क्लास करथिली करनु कौनु
So I'm trying to print ID of
कोइ बेमा
A of 0. A of 0 means address of first
हाँ
element. A of
हाँ
1 address of second object. A of 2 address of third object. A of 3 address of fourth object. ID
हाँ
of
सही बात
A
है
of
ये
4.
लिखित
This
अछि
is
अंग्रेजी तो
address of which object? Fifth object. Now if you run this 0, 1, 2, 3,
आउट
4.
ठीक अछि पठौछि
ID of, you are finding the ID of different objects.
हाँ मुझे
What is the ID of this is 2040. What is the ID of this object is 2060. What is the ID of this object is 2680. This is 2360. This is 2680. This is what? 3000. This is what?
ए तो टाइम सैला जा तो
3320.
पहिल
But
बाटे
is it
पाठ
ID is the
करिबोनी
same or
कहि
different?
तो पाइलुनी पुनी
Different.
आसी केटे
Is it
केटे
stored in continuous memory locations or different
ये
locations?
आसी किछि
Different
पढि पानी
locations. If you want, you execute this in IDLE also. Even you can execute this in what? IDLE also. IDLE open. In IDLE also you can run this code. Don't think that you have to do in Jupyter only, right? So you write the program here. So this is your program. This is only for testing. Okay, T1. I run the code. When you run it, now is it data stored in different locations or one location, different location? Is it ID is the same or different, different locations it is storing it, right? Then what will happen when you iterate it? Now tell me how to calculate. Tell me how to calculate time. How to calculate time? Import. Which module? Time module. That is the maximum size. Srinivas Reddy. You are talking about lister. You are talking about what? Lister. Yes. Reference. Is it reference? Object size. Object size. Yeah. Right. So I'm trying to calculate the time here. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to calculate the time. Tell me how to read the data. You will say for value in which one? A. And then print. Print what is that? Value. So for value in A and print value. Okay. So this is nothing but iteration. I want to know how much time is taken for iterating values. Then I create a start time. How you create a time? By saying time dot what? Time. This will get the current time or not? Yes. This is a start time and this is what? End time. Here I am saying time dot time. So this is a beginning of the time and this is a end. Then I'll say difference. Difference equal to start minus stopper, end minus start. Start minus end minus starter, start minus start. Start minus stop minus start. This is stop. Then difference is stop minus start. So then I'll try to print what here? Difference. This is a difference, right? Now when you run this code, now this is a time. Okay, this is a time in seconds, sir. Yes. This is a time in what? Seconds. Now I'll try to print. I just insert in new line. I just insert in new line. Now when you start increasing the data, When you start increasing what here? Data. When you start increasing data, and whenever you iterate the data, so will it take more time or not? Yes. Whenever you increase it, then automatically it take more time or less time? More time. When the data get increased, it will try to take more time to read the data from what? List. Okay, right? Why? Because the data is stored. Data is stored. Data is stored or objects are organized sequentially or randomly. Random. Because always the objects get stored in heap, and in heap the objects get created randomly, not sequentially. Is having different addresses. Different addresses. But when it comes to NumPy array, the memory is allocated in what? Continuous memory locations. Continuous memory locations. It is in what? Continuous memory location, but not in different memory locations. Continuous. There is a difference between continuous memory location and random. Random. Suppose there are a number of people are there. Suppose, for example, one person want to survey. You want to survey the some people. Okay. So some 100 people you want to do survey. 100 people you want to do what? Survey. If 100 people are living at different places, then finding the people becomes what? Complex. Moving from one place to another place becomes what? Take lot of time. One person is living in Kodi, one person is living in Amirpet, one person is living in Madhapur. Then is it all the people at one place or different places? Different places. Addresses are same or different? Difference. Then moving from one place to another place by the same person, will it take a lot of time if address is not continuous? If house addresses are not continuous, if the house addresses are not continuous, then you should search it. Where is this address is? Then you should go to that location and find the person or not? Yes. Because the addresses will not be in, the memory locations are not continuous. The objects are not continuous. The objects are created randomly within what? Memory. And those addresses are held by which one? List. So whenever it is reading it, it should jump from one location to another. So that will take lot of time. That will take lot of time. That is where you find the differences. That is where you find the difference here. So this is one more point. Second disadvantage of list is, now this is a point to be remembered here. Yes, yes. Second point is in array, we'll see practically. In array, data is organized. In array, data is organized in a continuous. Okay, it organized in what? Continuous memory locations. So continuous memory locations. Locations. In array, data is organized in continuous memory locations. But when it comes to the list, in list objects are stored. Objects are stored. How it is stored? In randomly. Objects are created randomly, and these objects are stored what? Randomly. It is not stored in continuous memory locations. It is stored in what? Randomly. In array, data is organized in continuous memory locations, but in list, objects are stored randomly. Randomly. Because of that, when you are iterating it, when you are iterating it, numpy array takes which one? Less time. Numpy array takes less time to read what here? Data. But whereas list takes okay, whereas list takes more time to iterate, or read, to iterate or what? Read data. Why it will take lot of, why it will take more time? Because data is not stored in which locations? Continuous memory locations. The data is stored what? Randomly. Okay, assume that if this address is, if this address is 1000, 10,000. This address might be what? 20,000. Okay, this address might be, assume that some 50,000. Okay, assume that this address might be, okay, 30,000. Okay, assume that this address might be some 15,000. It means address of all these objects are same or different? Different. So whenever you are iterating it, then you should switch from one address to another address. So that will take a lot of time. If you have a huge amount of data, then iterating or reading will take a lot of time because the objects will not be organized in continuous memory locations. Continuous memory location. This is list. This is what? List. But when it comes to the NumPy array, the data will be organized in which locations? Continuous memory locations. Continuous memory locations. Are you getting or not? बोलो यार समझ में आ रहा ना यार? Okay, because why you have to go for ND array when you have a list? Yes or no? Why the person develop array when you have a list? Because there is a lot of problems with the list when you're dealing with huge data or large amount of data. So that's the reason they developed which one? NumPy array. We'll see the history, don't worry, right? But we'll try to discuss this, how array will take less time for iterating the data, and there are so many points. More than 10 features are there. More than 10 features are there using which one? NumPy array. So we'll try to see more on this. I'll explain this in detail because I have a class. Now tomorrow I'll tell you how NumPy array takes less space compared to which one? List. Okay. So we'll see all 10 features in detail. All 10 features in detail. And these notes I'll upload in my Telegram. Telegram. This is my Telegram ID. Already last two classes notes are uploaded, and this notes also I'll upload. Saturday notes also I'll upload it, right? Thank you. We'll see tomorrow, right? See, initially I may go slow, but after once you know the subject, I'll increase the speed. Okay, na? Right. Thank you. We'll see tomorrow. Right. फिर क्यों? बोलो यार. हम्म. इसमें अभी आप रेस्ट फीचर्स यूज करें तो लिखो. रेस्ट किसके लिए? सब used by other applications. You want to develop web application or distributed? Web or distributed? Web बोले तो use only web features. And you want to provide some services, then use REST. Oh yeah, nah. You write a view only, no? Who will process the request? View only. But output is not in HTML. Output is in what? JSON. उसको इसको difference क्या है? Yes, because here the client uses. Okay, client uses only data. Yes or no? There you have to display complete output and all the things, right? Web बोले तो. Then compulsory you require templates and all the things. Huh? Okay ना? Hmm. 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 क्या क्या?
କୁଆଡ଼େ ଯିବି?